Have you ever wondered why you make the choices you do? We often believe our decisions are based on pure logic and careful consideration. But what if I told you there's a hidden mental shortcut, a silent force that constantly shapes your reality and influences nearly every choice you make? Before we uncover this fascinating aspect of your mind, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Our brains are incredible machines, but they're also incredibly efficient. To navigate the overwhelming amount of information we encounter daily, our minds have developed shortcuts. These mental shortcuts are known as heuristics. Heuristics are rules of thumb, simple strategies that allow us to make quick judgments and decisions without exhaustive analysis. They save cognitive energy, which is crucial in a fast-paced world. Think of them as mental hacks that help us function. While heuristics are generally beneficial, they can sometimes lead us astray. They can introduce systematic errors into our thinking, known as cognitive biases. These biases can subtly distort our perception of reality and influence our choices in unexpected ways. One of the most pervasive and powerful of these shortcuts is the availability heuristic. This bias suggests that we tend to overestimate the likelihood or frequency of events that are easily recalled from memory. If something comes to mind quickly, we assume it must be common or important. Our brains prioritize information that is vivid, recent, or emotionally charged. This readily available information then becomes the basis for our judgments, even if it's not truly representative of the broader reality. It's a mental shortcut that prioritizes ease of recall over statistical accuracy. The availability heuristic isn't about what's actually true. It's about what feels true because it's easily accessible in our minds. This can lead to significant misjudgments in various aspects of our lives, from personal safety to financial decisions. Consider the news. Sensational stories like plane crashes or shark attacks are often highly publicized and emotionally impactful. Because these events are so vivid and frequently reported, they become readily available in our memory. As a result, many people overestimate the risk of flying or swimming in the ocean, even though statistically these activities are incredibly safe. Car accidents, which are far more common, receive less dramatic coverage and thus feel less threatening. This is the availability heuristic at play. Another example is our perception of crime. If you frequently hear about local burglaries, you might feel your neighborhood is unsafe, even if crime rates are actually declining. The vividness of the reported incidents overrides the statistical data. This bias also influences our consumer choices. If a product is heavily advertised or a brand name is constantly in the news, it becomes more available in our minds. We might then perceive it as higher quality or more reliable simply because it's top of mind. The availability heuristic can profoundly impact your decision-making. In health, if you know someone who recovered from a rare illness, you might underestimate its severity for others. Conversely, if you hear about many cases of a common cold, you might overestimate its current prevalence. In finance, if you recall recent stock market crashes, you might become overly cautious about investing, even during a bull market. The vivid memory of loss can overshadow the potential for gain, leading to missed opportunities. This bias also affects our social judgments. If we can easily recall instances of a particular group behaving in a certain way, we might generalize that behavior to the entire group. This can perpetuate stereotypes and hinder fair assessment of individuals. It even influences our self-perception. If you easily recall your past failures, you might underestimate your capabilities. If you focus on your successes, you might overestimate them. Our internal narrative is heavily influenced by what's most available to our conscious mind. The first step to mitigating the availability heuristic is recognizing its presence. Pay attention to how quickly certain information comes to mind when you're making a judgment. If an idea or example pops up instantly, ask yourself why. Is it truly representative, or is it just vivid? Are you relying on a single memorable instance rather than a broader pattern? Be skeptical of your immediate gut reactions, especially when they are based on anecdotal evidence or sensationalized reports. Consider the source of your information. News media, social media, and personal anecdotes often highlight the unusual or extreme, making those events seem more common than they are. Understand that what is easily recalled is not always what is most probable. Once you recognize the availability heuristic, you can employ strategies to counteract its influence. Actively seek out diverse information and data. Don't rely solely on what's most accessible or what confirms your initial impression. When making important decisions, try to gather objective statistics and facts. For instance, if you're worried about a particular risk, look up the actual probabilities rather than relying on news headlines or personal stories. Challenge your assumptions with hard data. Engage in critical thinking. Ask yourself, what information am I missing? Are there other perspectives or data points that contradict my initial impression? Deliberately consider less vivid or less recent information that might be relevant. Practice perspective taking. Try to imagine the situation from different angles or consider the experiences of others who might have different information available to them. This can broaden your mental landscape and reduce reliance on your own limited recall. Understanding the availability. Heuristic isn't just about making better personal decisions. It helps us understand why public opinion can be swayed by sensationalism. It explains why certain fears become widespread, even if the actual risk is low. By recognizing this bias, we can become more discerning consumers of information. We can better evaluate news, social media trends, and even political rhetoric. It empowers us to think more independently and resist manipulation. This knowledge is a powerful tool for self-improvement and navigating a complex world. It allows us to move beyond knee-jerk reactions and make choices based on a more accurate understanding of reality. The availability heuristic is just one of many mental shortcuts our brains use. But by understanding how it works, you gain a significant advantage. You can start to identify when your decisions are being subtly controlled by what's simply easiest to remember. Take control of your decision-making process. Challenge your assumptions, seek out diverse information, and always question what feels obvious. Your brain is powerful, and by understanding its shortcuts, you can harness that power more effectively. If you found this video insightful, please consider sharing it with someone who might benefit. Don't forget to check out our other videos on cognitive biases and self-improvement for more ways to master your mind.